This week's chapter of My Hero Academia, or Boku no Hero Academia, it's just fire. It's just awesome. It's great. It's like, ooh, I could really feel that one. I was really hype for this chapter. So, coming up, we're going to review that chapter. Also, Black Clover, Solo Leveling, Returner's Magic Should Be Special, Last Human, and one of possibly the last chapters of 7 Deadly Sins. So, if you want to see that, stay tuned. And hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Bernhard Everett, and this is Anime Omnibus. Well, that's more like Manga Omnibus, but, Anime Omnibus sounds better. And, let's start right away with the most fired chapter, I think, this entire week. Except for Soul Leveling, but that's always fire, so it's kind of unfair. Which is My Hero Academia, chapter 223, A Cockroach. Now, if you're not caught up to the mangas in any of these cases, spoiler warning, I guess, and you should really go read it because I can't show panels for copyright reasons, most likely, but I'm going to tell you the basic outline of the story. So Shigaraki, the main villain, you could say, of the series, main antagonist, the guy with the hands on his face, where we learned that these hands are actually the fucking leftovers of his family, because when his quirk manifested, he just apparently killed his entire family except for the hands, which confuses me to some degree. Why exactly does his quirk disintegrate the entire body? Does it not disintegrate the hands? Because how was the doctor able to get the hands, or get a hold of the hands of his family members to make these little thingies that he wears on his body out of it, if they got disintegrated, if it was his quirk? I mean, that really makes me think that either it doesn't disintegrate the hands, which would be weird. I mean, that's like a weird functionality of the quirk, I suppose. Or the other theory I get to have from that is that actually All For One and the doctor were probably standing by while he killed his family, just like cutting off the hands and taking them, like, alright, here you go, and then like wiping his memory or something. Like that's pretty much the thought I'm getting right now, because it really makes no sense to me otherwise. Which would be fucking dark, by the way. If that was what happened, that would be pretty dark. I mean, we saw in the last chapters that Shigaraki doesn't exactly remember what happened, so it could very well be that they just kind of memory wiped him afterwards, because All For One said something to the effect of, look, his feelings are always, when the doctor said, should I fix him? Like, I can make him remember again. And All For One was like, no, don't do that. His feelings are always going to be with him. That's kind of what we want. That's kind of it. So yeah, that's the theory I'm going with right now. They were kind of standing next to him, just cutting off his family's hands before they disintegrated. But I don't know. Now, there's one interesting thing about that. Now that I remember in a previous chapter, so when the highway incident happened, when Shigaraki, which was the point where I started loving Shigaraki as a character, because I just sat there and just had to laugh at how dark and evil Shigaraki had gotten. Again, spoiler alert, at the end of the next arc in the anime that's actually upcoming, which is gonna be an awesome arc, which is the Yakuza arc, what was it, the 8 Precepts of Death, right? At the end of the 8 Precepts of Death arc, the guy, the head of them, Overhaul, who is a great villain also, he gets transported off to prison. They kind of just attack the convoy. Dabi kills one of the heroes who needs to protect the convoy, or wants to protect the convoy. And then they go to Overhaul. And Shigaraki starts disintegrating his one arm and just kind of cuts it off then, because he's like, oh, I don't want to disintegrate the entirety of you, just your arm, because screw you. I thought I remembered that he cut off the hand, but now I remember that he kind of started disintegrating his arm and then cut off the arm, because it would have spread through the rest of the body. And then Compress took the other arm as like vengeance, and then he's like, well, because Overhaul is just like Shigaraki, he needs his fingers, his arms, he needs his fingers, he needs to touch things to use his quirk, and by doing like taking off both of his arms, he can't use his quirk anymore. And he's never going to get it back either. Which is just hilariously evil, because Shigaraki's basically like, you know what, bitch? I'm just gonna make you watch while I destroy everything you love, and you can't do shit about it. I'm not even gonna kill you. I'm just gonna make you watch without being able to do shit, because fuck you. And then he just took his bullets, like, bye-bye. So that was, like, one of the greatest things. And one of the reasons I think Horikoshi, the author Horikoshi Koi, he does villain arcs way better than tournament arcs or training arcs, because the last training arc was so fucking boring. I almost snoozed away half the time. It's like, yeah, okay, they have great quirks, they worked on it, yeah, whatever. I don't care. Give me the villains, basically. And I think, honestly, Shigaraki's way more, like, a way better character than even Midoriya at this point. I'm rooting for Shigaraki, not Midoriya. Is that bad? I don't know, but his character growth is pretty good. So they're fighting Gigantomachia, who you might remember is the former bodyguard of All for One, and basically says, like, oh yeah, you guys are too weak, and he has a pretty weird body. It's like half stone for some reason that I don't know why. So it's basically Compress, Shigaraki, and Twice fighting him, and he's just like too weak, you know, you guys are just too weak. And we see Spinner and what's her face, the Yandere girl, what's her fucking name again? Toga, right? We see them coming. It basically is explained, yeah, they've been fighting Gigantomachia for 1.5 months straight. It's like, holy fuck, how the fuck do you fight someone for 1.5 months? Jesus Christ. Now, basically, and I need an implement for a little thing in a second. Basically, we see them coming there, and it's like, Toga's like, he's getting his fucking ass kicked, the future king, and Spinner's like, just same as usual, whatever. So he explains, yeah, they've been fighting for 1.5 months, and basically Shigaraki has been napping only for like 3 hours every 3 days or something, or every 2 days, because what Gigantomachia does is he attacks straight for 48 hours and 44 minutes, which is an oddly specific time, but whatever. For over 2 days straight, he will just fight, and then he'll sleep for 3 hours, and then he'll just fight on. Apparently that's enough for him. And basically Shigaraki goes with the same pace in that case. Alright, I just had to check something. Sorry, I shouldn't get distracted. But the thing is, it says here, this is how the last month and a half passed. Shigaraki hardly slept at all, and though his life danced in the hands of the giant, he was always smiling for some reason, which is just, I love that. I don't know why, but I love that. And yeah, it goes on, some conversation between Spinner and Toga, you know, moderately interesting. And what you really get to see is about Spinner, because I think what was Chibi Reviews, which is another reviewer on YouTube who you should definitely check out if you want to see more anime reviews. He has some interesting stuff. He basically has mentioned this before, that he wasn't ever really sure about what Spinner's role is exactly, why the fuck Spinner is even still there, and he just says something like, not a trace of him or Stain. He says to Toga, didn't you join because you love Stain or something? Not a trace of him lingers within the league anymore, so why are you still here? Because that's basically, in the last few chapters we saw, Spinner's really starting to fight with the fact that Shigaraki is not actually following Stain's lead. He actually hates Stain, like, really hard. And Spinner just came there because he loved Stain, because he wanted to, you know, wanted people to accept his heteromorph type mutation where he looks like a lizard. He always got bullied for that, you know, and he just wanted people to accept him for that. And so he said that all these false heroes and hero society has to be basically reformed. That's why he says Spinner is such a great dude. Not Spinner, Stain is such a great dude. And Toga's basically like, you know, yeah, I love Stain, but I also love Deku, and I also love Ochaka, so I'm happy as long as I can fall in love a lot. And it's like, okay, fucking yandere, that's not, that's pretty creepy if you ask me. But he's just like, yeah, such a free spirit. And I think this is going to be important. As Chibi said, like, something's going to happen with Spinner. And I think what we see in this chapter, especially later when, spoiler alert, right after that, they get a call by the Detnerat company chef, chief, I mean, chef is the German word for boss, whose name I forgot. Wait a minute, it's somewhere down here. Yotsubashi Rikiya. Okay, this guy with the, like, fucking, I don't know, he has like his nose looks like a beak or something. He's like fucking, sorry, I should reduce the cursing, but he's like one of these woodpeckers. Like, he looks like a woodpecker somewhat. Okay, so the woodpecker dude kind of calls them, and I think what's gonna happen is that Spinner, he's looking at Shigaraki, you know, it's like, he's saying, oh look, he has such a determined gaze, it's like a young boy chasing his dreams, you know, him fighting against Gigantomachia. There's a few funny scenes, so this chapter absolutely worth reading, by the way. So he calls them and says like, oh yeah, it's from Jiren's phone. Jiren is like their broker. Sorry, I need a sip of water right there. He's their underworld broker, right? So he's calling from their phone, and he's like, well, have you checked the news lately? Go check it. Go check the news if you can. And basically, what happened is they were trying to get some information out of Giren, and what they basically started doing is like chopping off every one of his fingers one by one. They chopped off all 5 fingers and put them at the 5 places that the League of Villains actually was at. So Hosu City, his index finger was in his glasses. The highway where the incident happened, the ring finger was there. At Kamino Ward, where the big fight happened, there was the thumb in the jacket. At Central Fukuoka, where I think that was the hideout before, where I don't know. I'm not quite sure. Yeah, I think Central Fukuoka was where that bar thing was, right? So that's the pinky finger, and the middle finger and the scarf were at where the 8 Precepts of Death headquarters was. And he basically says like, look, I'm Re-Destro, which is just... Why would you call... If your father's name is Destro, why call yourself Re-Destro? Like, is that Retro Destro? And Shigaraki's comment on this is pretty funny, where he says like, so after Yakuza, it's the Liberation Army, huh? Is retro culture trending again or something? But he knows about them, so that's pretty interesting. I think in one of the data sheets it said that Shigaraki's actually incredibly intelligent. He has like a 5 out of 5 in intelligence or something. So the Liberation Army boss basically says, and look, this guy didn't talk at all, even though we chopped off all his fingers. That's pretty cool and all. But we finally managed to get all the info anyway, and we, we've been waiting for so long. We've been spreading our roots, and then we see like the 4 members we saw before, or at least 3 of the, I think it was 5 we saw before, right? So this is like 4 of the 5 we see here again out of the hideout. One is a major company director of the Feel Good Incorporated, Chikazoku Tomoyasu or whatever. That's the one with the weird hair blocking out his face. Then the suave looking guy, he's like a political party leader. Then Shueisha, which apparently they must have asked for permissions to take the company name or something. But Shueisha company director, executive director, the woman, that's her. And then of course the woodpecker dude is Detnerit, chief executive officer. And what we see is that Shueisha Inc. was kind of like the company in this world is kind of the company that gives out these books, the Special Abilities Liberation Front books, or whatever it exactly is. They sell them, and it says in the background over 100,000 sales, and so basically it was them spreading that book again on purpose, right? So that was basically like, yeah, we're just a book publisher, and it's like basically people, some book publishers these days republish Mein Kampf, like Hitler's book, but they do it with commentary saying like, look, this is wrong, this is false, this is bad, whatever. So, but they didn't do that. They basically just republished the books like, oh yeah, the public should have the information, but we're not going to comment on it or whatever, and just like to get people to their side. And then he claims that they have 116,516 soldiers of the Liberation Army hidden throughout society. Now, I'm not sure, does it just mean like the book sales? Is that how many books they sold? Because in that case, not everyone's going to be on board. Or is that legit people they know personally, who they are, who they can call upon? Because in that case, that's like, holy shit, that's a lot of people. And what I could imagine happened is that they just kind of started swapping out their employees with people they could trust to be part of the Liberation Army. And so every employee in their companies, and that's how many employees they have, is basically part of the Liberation Army, something like that. I could imagine that happening because we saw the woodpecker dude killed his furry friend when he basically said that he thought the League of Villains, or no, not League of Villains, the Liberation Army Front was bullshit. So maybe that's a possibility, right? And they're like, oh shit, and then it's like, oh, it's too late, our satellite cameras have already locked onto, wherever you go now, we'll know where you are, the notorious League of Villains. And it's like, you know that they have teleportation, right? I mean, yeah, one of their teleportation guys got captured, which is the weird cloud dude, but they still have the doctor with his teleportation, so I don't really know what exactly satellite cameras are going to do for you if you get teleported. You can't really, you're going to lose sight of them either way, right? And then they say, Hawks, Endeavor, Edgeshot, Miroku, Crust, one word from us, and they'll all instantly surround us. Okay, why the fuck are you even telling us that? Well, because we want to destroy you. And so apparently what they did is they arranged the fingers in a way that with the north, south, whatever, it's kind of their symbol, which is, I still don't get why the Liberation Army sign is basically the loser sign. I guess that's foreshadowing, but I don't know, whatever. Maybe it means something else in Japan. And then he just kind of declares wars, like, come over here, we're going to release Jiren if you do. If you don't, we're going to kill him. And we just want to destroy you to revive our organization. And Shigaraki's like, alright, let's do that. He looks like, you don't know what you're getting into, boy. So, this is going to be a very epic arc, because I think what's going to happen is that you get villains fighting villains in this case. I don't even know if the heroes are really going to be involved. Now, I'm going to show one panel in the end. So let's see, is it this one? Nope. 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 There we go. Alright. Shigaraki, boy, bro. And by the way, I just have to look something up real quick, because I just flashed some shit right here that, I'm not quite sure. Wait a minute. Where the fuck was the... Oh, okay. But yeah, so basically, we see this panel. Okay, Shigaraki. Use some fucking cream. What the fuck is up with your face, dude? That's not healthy, right? I mean, yeah, I know 5 fingers disintegrate, but just let's use like 2 fingers, just fucking dab it on there or whatever. Like, Jesus Christ, Shigaraki, your face doesn't look good. I'm not saying this because it's a good villain design. I like the design, definitely, for a villain, but it's like, dude, Shigaraki, seriously, that's a fucking crumpled up forehead. What the fuck? I curse too much. I should really not curse. Okay, one more panel, because why not? This is Black Clover, and I'm gonna go right over. I'm not even transitioning. We're going in dry, I guess. Black Clover, very good chapter in my opinion, but this color scheme also threw me off. I think that's supposed to be Patri, so who basically the person impersonating Licht. But look at how white the motherfucker is. Like, he's whiter than me, and I'm like, fucking dude, look at me. I'm so fucking white that I turn invisible if I stand next to the wall, right? But this guy, what the fuck is up with him? He's even whiter. So that threw me off. I don't know. Not because he's white, just because like he's actually devoid of all color. That's okay. I didn't know elves looked that way. I don't even know. I don't think they do it like that in the anime. They might have. I'm not sure. But I hadn't seen it before. I've seen the anime, but I can't remember if he looked like that. So yeah, basically, the fight there is wrapping up. Patri, the guy who impersonated Licht, again, spoiler warnings, just got fucking his ass kicked by Nozel Silva, which is Noel's older brother, and apparently a badass, and just got like entombed in Quicksilver or Mercury magic, right? It's Mercury, yeah, Mercury magic. Liar is just lying on the ground. I think that's why he's called Liar, but anyway, so Larry's just on the ground there. He's like, ah, shit, this is looking bad. And the what's her name? The bronze-haired woman, Vermilion Mimosa, is starting to heal him, and he's like, why are you healing me? Well, what's up with that? She's like, I don't need a reason. I'm just gonna, you're on the brink of death. I'm just gonna heal you. And he looks at her like, oh, she looks exactly like that. The sister of the... Oh, please don't tell me. She looks exactly like the sister of the Wizard King, the former one who, the sister married Licht and became the mother to whatever. But I'm pretty sure she's not a reincarnation because, I mean, that would be, maybe she is, but I don't think she's a reincarnation, even though she looks similar. Now, basically he says like, damn it, things don't change, I got saved by royalty, and that's why I didn't want to get involved in this, whatever. And he knew from the start that the humans didn't really betray him. He knew from the start that Patri wasn't Licht, and he knew both of those things. He just kind of kept out of it because he was like, whatever. Bit of energy drink because I'm not hyped up enough already. So Nozel wants to kill Patri. Asta says no. Asta goes to him with the sword, trying to break the curse. Gets sucked in, actually. Sees all the memories. Sees that he killed the Wizard King, which he didn't know so far. Or the Magic Emperor, sorry, not the Wizard King. Whatever, it's same shit. So he saw the Magic Emperor. He saw his pity and despair. And then what we see is basically the Patri, the young Patri, sitting... who looks exactly like on the cover spread now that I look at him, sitting on a chair in front of William Vengeance in the tree. Now, I thought Vengeance was dead. Honestly, I kind of thought that after this, the Golden Dawn would need like a new captain or something, but apparently not. So he just goes like, and when I saw Asta getting sucked in, it's like, oh shit, it's time for Talk No Jutsu, isn't it? Which is basically he's gonna talk him on to their side, isn't he? And basically that's what happens. Yeah. So they have a bit of a shouting match. You should read it yourself. I think it's interesting the way it was handled. Also was good. Which was, I mean, Naruto always had that Talk No Jutsu thing, but in the end of the chapter, basically you get Patri saying, "All right, let's team up." That's the basic gist of it. Where he's like, "Can I count on you to join me until the very end against the devil guy?" And Asta's like, "Yeah, sure, let's go." And yeah, basically what we're gonna get the next few chapters, because Black Clover is one of the most fast-paced manga currently out there, and it's really good, honestly. I think the pacing for this manga is really good in its own way. I think Boku no Hero is doing good on its own pacing, although it's a bit slower. I think One Piece, Oda has tried to pick up the pacing a bit, but I think it's not really his style. Now, there was no One Piece chapter this week. It's going to be, the next one's going to be out next week, but I want to mention one thing about One Piece in this case, that Oda he's not like the best author, like many people say, Goda, best author. I think he's a damn good author, and he's like one of these people who is not the best at anything, but who's very good at several things. Like, he has strong points in very different like areas of writing style. So you can basically, if you're gonna hit like 6 things consistently in the top 20 in your manga, you're gonna be a good writer. You're gonna be considered a great writer even. So if you can make the villains good, the allies good, the jokes, the humor part, the fight part, if you can basically be in the top 20 of all of that, it's gonna be great. I feel like the Wano setup was a bit too short, like especially considering basically, first of all, how long we've waited for Wano. Secondly, I mean, I can understand we've waited forever for Wano. He wants to hurry it up to get to the main part, and I think his pacing is slowing down slightly again, because he's like, okay, we're getting to the main part of the story, we're getting to the part where the fights really start to happen. So now it can go a bit slower again. He just kind of wanted to rush the setup, but I think that's not really Oda's style, right? I think in Dressrosa the setup was too long. Yeah, that's true. I do get that, although I read Dressrosa after it was done, not while it was happening. I think Whole Cake Island, the end was definitely too drawn out, and the setup was pretty long too, but I mean, it's the Yonko saga. These people are immensely powerful, like fucking... like, what was it, mob bosses or emperors, I guess, of their own territories. So I think the long setup for Whole Cake Island actually was justified. Yeah, you could have made it a bit quicker, but it would have cut like maybe 5 chapters off. Maybe that's how much I would have shaved. Maybe 10 at best. So I thought the setup for Whole Cake Island was actually pretty good. That was around, just slightly too slow, but right around the pacing I would have wanted. For One Piece, for the Wano arc, I think the setup was too slow, too fast, I mean, where it's like, the whole Komurasaki reveal being Hiyori and all that, it was kind of just too obvious, too telegraphed, which means that maybe it wasn't true, but I feel like actually it's just he tried to copy Black Clover and My Hero Academia in the pacing department, and it doesn't work for One Piece. I think One Piece is actually one of the, slightly slower paced manga. And I'm fine with that. I love One Piece. And I'm not saying Oda did anything wrong here. What he consistently does every arc, he experiments. He adds new elements to the arcs and see what works, sees what doesn't. I think that's also a thing that makes him a great author, where it's like he's consistently top 20% of authors in any given area. He consistently tries new things, and even if they don't work out, I think the experimentation really works for his writing style. I mean, One Piece has been going for 20 years, so yeah, I mean, there's something he's doing right. And we're almost at 1,000 chapters, which makes me very happy. And we're going to get at least 1,200, 1,500, something like that. We're going to get at least 5 more years, I assume, of One Piece. But yeah, I think the pacing, it was an experiment. It was good-ish, but it was slightly too fast. I mean, yeah, if we take a range, I would say Whole Cake, Dressrosa definitely too slow. Whole Cake Island slightly too slow, and Wano slightly too fast. So somewhere in between Wano and Whole Cake Island, I think, is like the perfect quote-unquote pacing for One Piece. And it depends on the manga, because every manga does it differently, right? So yeah, there you go. Now, since I'm a bit late to the whole, reaction party, I guess, I didn't really couldn't really do a lot of video on 7 Deadly Sins, which is pretty great. This is the last, it says here, it's like the last stop of a long journey. It may be misleading because he has called other chapters like the last chapter or something before, so he likes to do that naming thing. But this, that was a different series, was it? I don't know, but this might legitimately be the end, because basically what happens is that the Demon King is defeated, all the demons retreat from, the kingdom of, I forgot what it's called. You see the aftermath of the fight. Rudisill basically kind of disappears into the air, said like, yeah, you know what, I was kind of getting sick of this whole war thing too, which is a nice character growth at the end, and he's dying in Mael's hands, his brother's hands. The 7 Deadly Sins, we can see them just hanging out together, which is pretty great. And Ban, I can't get over at how OP Ban got in the end. It's just, that was great. That was pretty fun. And then it's basically like, yeah, Elizabeth's curse is gonna be there tomorrow, so that's kind of sad. And who was it? The captain? What's his name again? Fuck, I forgot his name. I shouldn't curse, but I forgot his name again. Like the what's the captain's name again? Meliodas. Yeah, that's like he's the main character. How the hell did I forget his name? Okay, but he said, yeah, hey, there's a way to break the curse, and everyone looks at him like, okay, and they're like, dude, you shouldn't be joking. But I'm not joking. It's like, you sure? You sure about that? Yeah, I'm sure. And then Merlin's like, all right, fine. Curse discovery. She just basically makes both the curse, the eternal life and perpetual rebirth. She makes both of them visible, and we can see what they look like, which is honestly pretty. It's like, ugh, what the fuck? I'm gonna show that panel. Screw it. I know copyright and all, but I'm gonna show that panel. So these two curses look pretty weird. I'm gonna say there. Look, by the way, support the official releases. Go to Viz Manga. I think I'm gonna support them too. And then he basically transforms into a new form, which kind of looks like the Demon King form, just in like, I guess, Nyotanized, like childlike version of that. And he's like, all right, let's get to it. Let's destroy the curses. And Elizabeth's like, well, I mean, if you fulfilled your promise, that's kind of like the end of that journey. It's like, are you gonna stay with me? And he's like, of course I'm gonna stay with you. What the fuck? I mean, look at your boobs. Anyway, no, but of course I'm gonna stay with you. That's not a problem. And then they hug each other, and it's very touching. Honestly, I'm a sucker for endings like that. I don't know why. I'm just a sucker for nice endings. So yeah, then it says to be continued in chapter 307, epilogue 1, which is maybe we will get to see like they lived for so long, had that many children, magic faded from the world, and that's how it became. Because it's Britannia, right? It's our world. It's Great Britain, just a different time. Wait, did I say it's a different world before? But whatever. I made like a long channel introduction that was kind of too long and too confusing, but whatever. But yeah, I think it was just, I would like such an end. Honestly, I'm a sucker for nice endings. A sucker for good endings. I don't know why. Then we get to Solo Leveling, and he's basically like, well, I want to sell this orb that basically doubles someone's magic power, because, and he mentions here, okay. These are hard transitions, I know. There's not a lot of, there's not a lot of lube going into these transitions. Going in and out of chapters, on a regular basis. Solo Leveling is a manhwa. This is a Chinese, I guess, or in this case, Korean version of manga, which is colorized. It is incredibly good. Only 65 chapters. As I mentioned, I think in the other review or wherever I mentioned it, they're very short chapters, but they're very, very good. So I would recommend highly Solo Leveling as a manhwa. Go read it. It's great. And you can't wait for the next week's chapter every time you've read one. Or at least that's my feeling. I don't know. Maybe you'll feel differently, but that's how I feel. And if anyone wants to do timestamps in the comments, I'm probably going to be too lazy. So if anyone wants to do timestamps, post them in the comments. If you care enough. If most people probably don't, so whatever. I don't. Maybe with time, if I get less lazy, which is unlikely. So basically it says, normal magic items. Oh yeah, and so what basically, for those people who don't know, so leveling, I'm just going to give a very quick recap. Our world, suddenly portals open, monsters come out of the portals, start fucking people up. I should really stop cursing. So messing people up. Some people in the world awaken where it's like they get superpowers and they are the hunters and they go into these places, these portals, and in the portals are dungeons and they just kind of clear the dungeons and whatever. And most people, they awaken, they have a certain rank. It's A, B, C, D, E, and S rank. So S rank is the highest, E rank the lowest, as it always is in these things. And S rank hunters are basically like godlike strength and they can destroy almost anything, whereas like E rank hunters are like, they're gonna be lucky to survive a D rank dungeon or something. So I think dungeons are ranked A, B, C, and D, and it's like, it's measured by the amount of magic coming out of it. And there's a special kind, red dungeons, that's going to be in the story at some point. Like there already was one at the point we're at right now, but if you haven't read it, there's going to be a red gate, I think it's called, and that's very special. So yeah, basically these hunters, they have all like special magical or whatever abilities. Some are like fire mages, some are like tanks, so it's like an RPG. Basically it's really just like World of Warcraft RPG style is how you can imagine it. And they're only really allowed to use their powers inside the dungeon, although since S rank hunters, for instance, are so godly strong, there's no real way to control them, so they can just do whatever the fuck they want to, unless it's against another S rank, so whatever. So yeah. And since it's like World of Warcraft, you can have equipment, and he mentions, alright, so equipment is like, it makes you 20-30% stronger at the best. That's like the best equipment there is out there. And even like the shitty equipment is worth like millions of won. Now I don't know what won is in dollars. $1 to $2 conversion. Let's do that. Let's search for that. But he mentions that, yeah, okay, so even like the shitty equipment is millions of won and very expensive, and he can't really afford any of it, of the equipment they have there, because it's like the current arc is like he wants to go to that one dungeon that's special for him. Oh yeah, that's like the special thing where he's like the only one who can actually level, because he gets like killed in the beginning, and then after being killed he can actually start leveling. And yeah, now I looked it up. So 1 million Korean won is like $880. That's I mean, that's not a lot. So what does he say how much the equipment costs? So he's like since the equipment used by hunters is imbued by magic, even the swords used by D-rank hunters is priced at millions of won, so a few $1,000s. Since C-rank or higher hunters are almost guaranteed a high income, they almost have no reason to be frugal. Yeah, I mean, if you have like thousands of, like, or maybe millions of dollars of income, you don't care about a few thousand won, it's like, or a few $1,000s, like, oh, who gives a shit? Even about, yeah, whatever. So High rank hunters are sold in the hundreds of millions of won. Okay, that's slightly more. So hundreds of millions. That's 100 times that. That's about. Wait, we said 800, right? So that's like $80,000. Okay, that's all right. That's a lot. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. That's true. Okay, so he hasn't yet saved up like his $90,000 he would need for good equipment. So he's like, maybe I should sell this orb I found in the dungeon that I need the equipment for, because the same dungeon is like full of fire and shit, and he needs to have some fire resistance. But then he says, okay, so this orb I found, it doubles magic damage, so 200% increase. He says the best artifacts can only increase the user's power by 20-30%. And he's like, alright, so this is like a really, really rare artifact. Everyone will want to have it, and people are going to be like, holy shit, where the fuck do you find that, right? Where the heck did you find that? Really stop cursing. But I mean, most of you probably don't care, but just for conversational tone, I should not curse as much. But he said, like, since the orb isn't from somewhere weird, there's no need to sell it at black market, but there's still a problem of explaining how I obtained it. And he said, like, he recently, because he's leveled so much, he's acquired like an S rank license, but it's still going to take a bit before he actually gets the license, right? So currently he's still an E rank officially, but he's going to be S rank soon. And many people, since they found out he's like the 10th person, so S ranks are pretty rare. He's like one of 10 people in South Korea who have ranked S rank. So it's like, let's see, South Korea population. Let's see how much that is. It's about 51 million people. Alright, so let's say it's either, I don't know how many it is in world, because it was never mentioned. So I would assume it's either that a bunch of people got killed, let's say still 40 million people, or by the monsters coming out of the gates, or it's they've recovered, or maybe even it's grown because of magic and daily use. Or something, the amount of people, maybe it's even grown. So let's say it's like between 40 and 60 million people, which mean that 1 in 4 million or 1 in 6 million people, one of the two, would be an S rank hunter in South Korea. So for the US, if we say 1 in 6, which is the million, which is the pessimistic number, for the US with 360 million people, you would get, how many is that? Okay, it's like, so 10 is 60, and 50, 500, 510. Yeah, so it's 510 S rank hunters in the US. That should be about the number. So the US would have a pretty decent amount of S rank hunters. 510. Wait, stop. My math is shit right now. Wait, that can't be. If it's 10 in South Korea and it's between 40 and 60 million people, oh, sorry, so it's 55. Okay, so 55 S-rank hunters. Okay, that's a lot less. So the entire US population would be like 55 S-rank hunters. The entire Chinese population would be over 100 maybe, if it's like evenly distributed. I don't know if it's evenly distributed, but if it's evenly distributed, that would be like 500 in the US, about 1,000 in China and stuff like that. Maybe 1,000 in India. Man, Indian S-rank hunters, like, hello my friend. I am from India. I am S-rank hunter. I have 8 arms, but like my goddess. Like something like that, yeah. And they shake their head. I was in India, so this is not racist. No, I don't know. But what would be racist is saying that they all smell like curry. Because they actually do. That's not racist, but the thing is, if you eat curry, you start smelling like it because you kind of sweat it out. And I noticed that when getting on the plane, it's like, it smells like curry in here. What the fuck? And yeah. So I don't know. Ah, shit. So 40 minutes in, I made my first faux pas. No, obviously not all Indian people smell like curry, but people who eat a lot of curry smell like curry, and Indian people, because curry comes from India, eat a lot of curry, which is why many of them smell like curry, which is not even a bad thing, because I actually like curry somewhat, so whatever. But I just, yeah. I shouldn't share observations like that, I guess. Many people in the US are easily offended. Whatever. So anyway, so when they figured out that this guy was an S-rank hunter, Sung Ying Woo, the main character who's been leveling all this time, many people wanted to recruit him, many of the guilds, because obviously if there's 10 people in your country that are S-rank hunters, having more than one of them is pretty good. And so far, like, there's like 4 or 5, I think there's 5 guilds, and most of them have like 1 S-rank hunter. Except for the top guild, they have 2, which is the hunters. Quite obvious naming scheme here, I guess. And then there's like the chief of like the oversight committee. So there's like a governmental oversight committee that just kind of looks over the I guess keeps the hunters in check, because even like A rank or B rank hunters have like godly amounts of power and strength, and if there wasn't some check and balances against them, they would just run rampant. And so they had like this oversight committee, whatever, monitoring division, I think it's called, and they have like not a lot of, but they have a few strong hunters, like some A ranks, and the boss of them is like an S rank too, one of the 10. And so some of them went to the US or other countries, so not every Korean S rank is still in Korea. But yeah, he's basically old, he's gonna croak soon, he knows that. So he tried to recruit Sung In-woo, the hunters tried to recruit him, some White Tigers guild tried to recruit him, and of course the guy, this young guy who wants to have the new guild that's established, his father's guild, that guy also wanted to recruit him. And I think this new guild also already has like 1 or 2 S-rank hunters in their employees, so that would have made them very strong. But yeah, so far he's basically refused all of them, except now it's like they hear like, oh wait, is he a false ranker? And because he's been in E rank for 4 years, so he must have awakened sooner than recently. And the chief of the monitoring division is like, no, not really. Then if that were the case, the raid members of the double lair incident, which is basically where he awoke, basically that was his double awakening, they wouldn't have been wiped out. And right after that double lair incident, he did get retested, but back then he was still in E rank because he was like at level 1, right? So now he's like level 100, he's leveled a lot, now he's stronger, but back then it was like, what's it called? Back then he was still level 1, so he was basically still the same rank as before, but he did actually doubly awaken. It's just they couldn't figure it out because this leveling shit, that's something that doesn't really happen in that world. He's like the second person maybe to have that, and the first person is his father, who just kind of basically disappeared into a dungeon 10 years ago and just recently came out. And so yeah, they talk about the guy a bit, and it's all interesting and whatever. And here he says, actually, there's been a report that Hunter Sung In-woo has joined a raid team. And so, oh really, already? And it's a raid team from the Hunters Guild. It's like, oh shit, was he full of shit? Did he just go there because of the good payment? What's up with that? And oh no, he's like the 3rd S rank in their midst. Now they're like stronger than the government, because like 3 S rank hunters are apparently stronger than the Korean government, which just gives you an indication of how strong these people are. And he's like, oh shit, the balance of power, we're all fucked now. Basically, he gets a bit panicky, and then his secretary guy, his second in command guy, just basically says like, yeah, he joined the mining team instead of the attack force. The boss is like, what? What? He's an S-rank hunter, he works as a miner? So what happens is there's like mana crystals or something in the dungeon, they can be sold for some money, so hunters that are like E rank or D rank or very low rank, they basically go into the mining department. They take like a backpack and a pickaxe because machinery doesn't work in the dungeon. So basically what happens is you get all these A rank people and like 1 or 2 S ranks or that go into the gate. They clear out the dungeon mostly, except for the boss. The mining team comes in, takes all the shit with them. Then they clear the boss, because when the boss dies, the dungeon closes. That's basically how it works. So the ones getting paid a lot of money, that's the attack force. The mining team is just like, they're not really doing anything, and he's just kind of like hiding under his top hat, like, yeah sir, I'm an E rank, I'm just gonna be are you experienced in this line of work? No sir. What's your combat type? I'm a physical combatant. Oh, that's a relief. And And basically it's like, all right, let's go in after the attack force wiped them out. Let's go in and take all these mana crystals. This is an A rank gate, and then we get to see like the strongest hunter, the boss of the Hunters Guild, the ultimate soldier, I think he was called in one panel. He's like a fire mage, and he just kind of goes like and clears the dungeon with one giant ass fire spell, and it's pretty cool. So again, this is like one of these manga or manhwa in this case. You need to read it or look at the panels, I suppose you could say more accurately. You need to read it, you need to look at the panels. It's a great epic show. And then he just they just basically come out again. It's like, alright, miners, you go in, whatever. So that's where we leave off the chapter, on a bit of a note where it's like we get a tease, I guess, for the new waifu for the main protagonist, which is some blonde-haired S-rank chick, I suppose. She's like the vice chief and another S-rank hunter in the Hunter Guild. So I'm not quite sure what exactly is going to happen with her. According to the people in the light novel, it's going to be epic, but yeah. I don't know what exactly is going to happen, but that was that chapter. Again, very short. We're going to switch over now, and yes, these are going to be very long, so about an hour, I'd say, an hour and a half maybe, if it's like a lot of chapters on the usual, but I'm fine with that. I can even do like live reviews if you guys want that, though I have to say that when streaming it, I'd have to think about how to do that with I can't show the panels, right? So you'd have to read in parallel. And also, I think you need like 10,000 views or something to be able to stream to YouTube. So it's some confusing shit like that, whatever. So a Returner's Magic Should Be Special. That's the manhwa. It's chapter 85, and it's called, what's it called? It's called Why Are You on This Shit Website? Okay, that's an interesting name for a chapter, but wait. Oh, was that just like an April Fool's? I have to see. I have to look at the last chapter. It looks like it might have been an April Fool's, in which case it's like, fuck you guys who are translating this. I get that you want to earn money, but whatever. So, okay, I'm going to review it with the next chapter, I guess. I can make like arc reviews for every single arc. I can make like specialized anime videos if you guys want to have something like that. Yeah. mangadex.com. Let's see if they have it there, or if they're not gonna. Mangadex reader. Is this like a bunch of fucking ecchi? It looks like it's a bunch of ecchi. By the way, I'm not going to review ecchi, although I might read it every now and then, but I'm not going to review it. So what's it called? Returner's Magic. Let's see. You need a login. How about go fuck yourself? No, alright. No, alright, so that's it. That's about it. Yeah, oh, no, wait, stop. Ah, shit, I made, like, the ending, which means, like, the 3 people that were watching to already left. I mean, they probably already left anyway, but there's one last one. The last human. Moshi Fanren, or whatever the fuck it's called. Yeah, this chapter, so basically this world, what's happening here? It's basically similar to the Solo Leveling, where it's basically like a real-life computer game. This is like similar to that. There's a zombie apocalypse. The dude dies at the end of like a long journey in the zombie apocalypse after he's learned a lot after a few years. Then he gets revived the day of the zombie apocalypse, and he's like, oh shit, what the fuck? Alright, whatever, I'm not even gonna think about that's my first inclination would be like, okay, first of all, get safe from the zombies. Secondly, what the fuck just happened? Why have I been reborn? I would really like to see the author here, although I don't think it's gonna happen, but I would really like this author to grapple a bit with the question of why exactly did I get revived? Like, what happened here? Like, what does that tell me about my universe? It's the same with Solo Leveling. Like, all these gaming in real life, they never really, as far as I know, there might have been one, but that one was pretty boring to me, so I didn't read it. All of these, they never really deal with the question of, okay, first of all, why is there magic powers or zombies? And secondly, why did I get revived? Like, well, what exactly does that tell? I mean, solo leveling deals with that to some degree, where he questions, like, what does the system exactly want to happen? And I think he's kind of like thinking about, okay, maybe I'm like in a computer game or some stupid shit like that, but what's happening here? But in Last Human, that really comes too short, and I would really like to see that. I would really like to see the people be a bit more, you know, thinking a bit more about, okay, what exactly is going on here? Like that, my first question, there's a zombie apocalypse, alright, okay, whatever. There's a virus, okay, sure. And some people use that virus to get some superhuman strengths without turning into zombies. Sure, I guess, whatever. And then you die from the zombies and then you get revived. Okay, at that point I would be like, okay, what the fuck? What the fuck just happened? What's wrong here? Like, is this a religious thing? Is this like a computer game? Am I in a simulation? What's going on here? That would be what would be on my mind. Honestly, I'd be like, is this a simulation? What the fuck is this? But his first reflex was like, hey, you know what? I'm going to go out and I'm going to save all the people that died in my last life who were my friends, because why not? And in the current arc, he Zotiang Sheng, whatever the guy's name is, he met one of his best friends in the former life, which is some black dude with locks, like dreadlocks. Again, it plays in China, so I have no idea how exactly that's happening, but sure, why not? Apparently there's a lot of Africans in China. I mean, China is colonizing Africa, so I guess that works, you know, some importing of people from, you know, just like the Brits have the people from the Commonwealth, I guess it's the same here. So I'd say it's like that, right? So, his friend wants to fight him because... Oh, this is a longer story. Alright, so what basically happens is the guy, because he got revived, he knows a technique, breathing technique, that it took them very long to figure out in the last life, which basically led to them being overrun by the zombies, who are also evolving, which is some, you know, something like what's the Umbrella Corporation that Resident Evil, one of my favorite movie series, which is why I'm confused I couldn't remember the name. But I mean, I've been talking for 50 minutes. I might, you know, apologies for my lapse in memories, but after talking for 50 minutes about 5 different storylines, it gets a bit confusing after a while. But I'm happy to do it. But alright, we got all the butts out. If you know what I mean. Maybe I should review Ecchi, but no, I'm not. I'm not going to do that. So, basically, yeah, he knows a breathing technique, and at some point people figured out that he knows this breathing technique that makes him stronger than all the others, and that makes him like a sought-out man, because I mean, when you find that out and you get like these evolved people, and being evolved is really a big thing, whoever gets their hands on that breathing technique first, they will be the dominant power, right? They will be able to make every one of their people awaken. They will be able to like further their development rapidly, because it's like levels you get to each of your mutations basically, and the higher the level of your mutation, the stronger you get, obviously. And so you went to that one city, what's the name? I forgot the name of the city, but whatever. And there was basically a gang warfare because some people thought they kidnapped him, and basically his friends who he got separated from earlier tried to save him, then they got kidnapped, and then he had to fight to free his friends when they figured out that the guy who got kidnapped first wasn't actually really him. So he wasn't the real Sang Yin-woo. No, Sang Yin-woo was from Soleil. Shit. What's his name? Damn, these names, especially if I can't really do anything about the, like... I need to look for the name, but I can't find it. Must be somewhere, Zotiang Sheng. Okay, I didn't find it, but I just remembered it. Alright, so Zotiang Sheng. So yeah, they kidnapped someone who looked sort of like him, so his friends tried to save him, got kidnapped themselves, because every gang in the city basically tried to get their hands on him, on Zotiang Sheng. So then they were like, oh, so this is not the real one, but these are his friends, so, you know, we're just gonna hold them hostage, and basically have Zotiang Sheng come to save his friends, and then basically kidnap him and learn the breathing technique, right? So that we can advance faster, get get the rulership over the city, and that's that. And basically what happens then is it's like, well, every gang wants him, but who exactly is going to get him, right? And Zhou Tiansheng disguises as one of like a third party, like black bandana society that are like somewhat random. And he basically gets into the tournament because it's like a last one standing type of tournament where he gets into the tournament in order to save his friends, and he basically beats up all the other people. That's the short version. It's a pretty epic fight though. He beats up all the other people, and then Hu Feng, which is like some boss of another gang who've been friendly with Zhou Tiansheng in the past after he got separated from his friends. Long story. I mean, it's like chapter 129. I can't summarize it all in one go. And basically the boss of him just kind of knocks his friend who tries to fight him out. Okay, I need to explain that too. So his black friend there with the dreadlocks, he sacrificed his life in the last life for Zhou Tiansheng to be able to survive with his lover. And Zhou Tiansheng basically did something that made it so that he had a good time or a better time, and basically it's like his gang or he himself kind of survived because of Zhou Tiansheng beating up some rivals of theirs or some shit like that. And so he's like, well, these are friends of Zhou Tiansheng, and I don't really care about the dude himself, but my boss just got killed by the Red Jacket gang, whatever, which is another one, and I'm the vice chief, and I just recently was awakened, and I'm the last hope of my gang, but you know, even so, our gang's probably gonna get fucked over. But because of Zhou Tiansheng, we didn't get fucked over immediately, so he did me a favor. So because I don't want to owe any favors, I'm gonna win over his friends and then let them go free to find Zhou Tiansheng, whatever. So we're even basically, and which is a very honorable thing. It's just he's a bit pig-headed about it, where he's like, dude, why the fuck do you even care, Black Bandana Society, dude? I want to win these people to set them free. And why the fuck do you want them? Not knowing that he is Zhou Tiansheng. So that's when Hu Feng, the Fist Emperor, I think he's called in this, jumps in, just knocks him out in one go. Very strong moves. Who was apparently in like the last life of Zhou Tiansheng, this Fist Emperor dude was like the most godlike figure of all of them, because he was like the highest evolved of all of them. I think rank 5 or something back then. Right now he's probably still like rank 3 above all the others, but and one of the strongest people, but apparently he's still interested enough in Zhou Tiansheng to figure out, because since Zhou Tiansheng this time knew the breathing technique from the start, he grew faster. So this way around, he's still interested in him, but he's like, yeah, you know what, do whatever. You've been helping my teammates, my faction out so far, so I'm not even gonna ask. You can come along if you want to. If you don't want to, whatever, I don't care. So that's that. Alright, so he knocks him out, and all the friends get reunited. Zhou Tiansheng, the two of his friends that got kidnapped, the teacher woman, and then they pick up the black guy, and I forgot his name. Sorry, I'm saying black guy, but just I forgot what he's called. So we're gonna see that next chapter probably. And he says, so they ask Zhou Tiansheng, who's like the boss of the group, basically like, okay, so where do we go next? And it's like, all right, let's go to the Azure Mountain gang. That's this guy's gang, and let's make sure they do well, you know. And yeah, that's almost the end. Except at the very end, one of the girls says to the teacher woman that, hey, by the way, there's someone you want to meet. We need to go there, and which probably means, or to me means, that her little sister who got kidnapped earlier, and you know, whatever. No, wait, the teacher woman got kidnapped, not the little sister, but her little sister is probably going to join up again. So we're going to have a squad of at least 6 people soon, maybe more, since of course the people, they got separated up in the mountains in the previous arc, and maybe the people from the mountains came down to, you know, join them up or whatever. So we might see a bigger congregation there. All right, so that's all the chapters this week. It's been 6 chapters out of 8 that I want to regularly review, with possible 2 more, which means like maybe I'll split it up into actually manhwa and manga, like do it separately, one on Thursday, one on Friday. because 1 hour is pretty long, to be sure. And yeah, but that was it. Thank you everyone for watching. Check out, well, there's not really another video on this channel yet, so, but if you see this later than when this is posted, there might be new videos. If you want to see next week's manga reviews or whatever, or you want to see live reviews at some point, whatever, just subscribe to the channel and we'll see you back here next week. Peace out.